ConnecTogether creates opportunities for people living with disabilities by providing information, resources, and programming geared towards greater inclusion and quality of life. Check out some of the programs we offer through our online learning platform, ConnecTogether, including our Service Mondays, where we highlight a local organization or initiative, our Tuesday Community Support Group, where space is provided to share your personal journey with disability or simply listen to others in a safe and inclusive environment. Wednesday Chair Yoga with Bobbie Seale-Cobiskey. Thursday Adapted Fitness with Megan Williamson. Friday Rotating Dance Classes hosted by Janice Lawrence and Joanne Cuff. Additionally, starting in April, we're bringing back our Wednesday creative writing classes, running from 2 to 3 p.m. and hosted by Emily Gillespie. And other initiatives, including presentations by the Disabled Independent Gardeners Association's Growable program, and our Perspective series. Check out our updated programs calendar on our website, connectra.org, or find us on Facebook at ConnecTogether Society. The Abilities Expo is back in 2022. The Abilities Expo is ConnecTogether Society's flagship event, bringing together exhibitors, vendors, resources, guest speakers, and more to further enrich the disability community's well-being and connectedness. Join us on May 25th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the Roundhouse Community Centre in Vancouver, BC, to reconnect with your community in person. Tickets are available now at connectra.org/abilitiesexpo.
So, good to go, Kassar?
Yeah, you can start.
All right. So, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to a seated adaptive yoga practice. So, welcome to class, and thank you for joining me. And so, today I would like to before we get settled in, I'd like to reintroduce a few of the yoga props that I like to use in the adaptive yoga practice. And so one of them would be a rolled yoga mat. So the purpose for the rolled yoga mat, and it can be used at the beginning of the class or at the end of the class when we come into our final relaxation. So it can be really useful placed along our spine. And so one of the reasons for this, well, first of all, it might feel really lovely, really comfortable, placed right along your spine. So it helps to counter some of the collapsing that most of us are doing in our chest. Collapsing forward. Alternatively, at the end of the practice, when we come into Shavasana or Serenity Pose, it can be lovely to relax back on. The other thing I'd like to reintroduce is a hard block. And so this can be useful placed between our knees. So these hard blocks, you can place them sideways, whatever width kind of works for you, to keep your knees comfortably hip distance apart. And lastly, one of my favorite things would be the foam block. So I happen to have mine covered in this material, and I like to place it between my feet and it helps me keep my feet, again, hip distance apart. So whatever works for you. So whatever you have at home that can mirror that same idea would be wonderful, if you'd like. And so let's go ahead and get started. So as always, an invitation to begin your yoga practice by finding a comfortable sitting position. It is challenging for our nervous system to calm down if we are uncomfortable in our bodies. As ready, if you'd like, and it's available to you, an invitation to take your hands to your chest, your heart, or your heart, pardon me. So palms open, or maybe palms together. Take a moment to notice how this placement of your hands feels for you. So if it makes you lose your balance, choose another placement for your hands. So a gentle reminder, we never forfeit balance to come into a pose or movement. And then as ready, lift your heart, bow your head to your heart. And then take a moment to allow yourself to consciously enter into the present. Setting aside whatever concerns, worries from before the class for the duration, knowing that you can come back to that after class. And then as ready, relax your arms by your side. And then an invitation to shake your hands. So if it feels okay for you, shake your hands vigorously. Otherwise, feel a little more gentle. And so reaching up to the sky. So if you like saying good morning, so it might be good morning to our ancestors. And then hinging from the hips, come forward a little. And reaching up one more time. Good morning. So reaching up as high as feels comfortable for you. So often you'll hear me share one of my favorite stories of teaching, sharing this practice one morning with a woman who was well over 100. And she said, I feel like my ancestors are waving back. And so just like you're shaking water off your hands, allow your arms to float down by your side. Rest your hands on your lap. So palm up or palm down as desired. Explore which feels better for you, resting your palms face up, or does it feel better to rest your palms face down? If you are feeling restless, scattered, palms face down can encourage a grounding sensation. If you are feeling tired, fatigued, palms face up, open to receive. Soften your gaze. You're looking downwards. Maybe close your eyes softly if that feels comfortable for you. Ground down through your sits bones. Notice where your bum and your thighs are in contact with your seat. Our belly is soft. Spine is long. Roll your shoulders back. Lift up through the crown of your head. So attention moving inward. Notice your alignment. So knees, ankles, hips Shoulders stacked over our hips. Chin level with the floor, in slightly. Allow your facial muscles to soften and release. Notice your breath. Place one hand on your Buddha belly. And maybe noticing that as we inhale, things expand. On exhale, things contract. Breathing in, belly moves out. Breathing out, belly moves in. Place your other hand on your chest and notice the pattern of movement of your breath between your upper torso and your belly. See if you can begin to extend your breath. You'd like to add a gentle rocking movement to the breath awareness practice. This can engage the relaxation response, allowing us to let go of stress, holding, and tension. At any point, if you notice your mind gets distracted and wants to wander off, know that that's okay. That's the nature of our mind. Simply bring your awareness back to your breath. And now see if you can add a quality of softness to your breath. So you might imagine that you just tasted something delicious. If you have a fur baby, a fur kid, you might imagine that you're petting your fur baby. And see if you can bring that same softness to areas of your body that you feel are tight or knotted. Our breath is long and smooth and soft as we breathe in and as we breathe out. And just for a few more breaths, or as long as feels comfortable, keeping this simple breathing exercise flowing. If it's challenging to focus on the breath, bringing our awareness to the sounds around us can be helpful. So I just heard the whoosh of a car. Tree road in front of me. I can hear the ticking of the old clock in the living room.
You are at the main menu. To play your messages, press 1.
And in a loving way, bring your awareness.
Yeah. Hello, Mayor. Good afternoon. Kasia calling from National Sitting and Mobility. It's regarding your manual wheelchair. I finally have it ready to go back to you. So we can deliver it tomorrow between, let's say, 10 and 12. Can you just please let me know if that works for you? 604-87. Message deleted. You have no more. You are at the main menu.
And so maybe noticing the gentle tone of my voice in a loving way, bring your awareness back to your breath. And so, and when you're ready, bring your chin towards your chest. Gradually blink your eyes open. So gently blinking our eyes open. Falling awake, not asleep. Falling awake, not asleep. And so notice if you felt a subtle shift in your energy. And so anytime we practice these simple breathing exercises, it acts like a bridge between our body and our mind. And so an invitation, release your arms by your side and then shake your hands. So we fidget. So a little more vigorous this time. Reaching up. And so moving on, yoga traditionally is practiced barefoot. That said, some of us need our shoes for stability. It might be that it is cold outside, whatever the reason, you may need to keep your shoes on. However, that said, I'd like to encourage you, anytime you have the opportunity to remove your shoes and place them on maybe a soft blanket, on the earth, wherever, having a little closer contact, connection with the earth can be a lovely experience. So I'm actually going to remove my runners today. It's not that warm, but it's actually springtime, and I see a bit of sun. And so I'm going to set my shoes aside. And so if you have a yoga buddy who's not there to do the work for you, but can help guide during the practice, that can be lovely as well. And so we all have yoga buddies in one way or another. And so I think what I'm going to do is invite you at this time to walk your hips forward in the chair, if possible. And so come forward about 2/3 of the way. And so if you'd like or need the back of the chair for support today, honor that. And so yoga meets us exactly where we are. And so take a moment to notice how it feels to have your feet approximately hip distance apart, feet parallel. And so if this placement of your feet feels comfortable, wonderful. However, it is not one size fits all. So the idea is to be stable, so we never forfeit balance to come into a pose or a movement. So place your feet in whatever way feels comfortable for you. And so we will be transitioning into the movements of the spine, so sideways, forward, twists, and so on. And so if you know that balance is a challenge for you, an invitation to have what you need to keep you stable in your chair. And so whatever device. And so from here, an invitation to join me in a practice that I like to call finding our balance. And so sitting up comfortably, effortlessly upright, hinging from the hips. So you might have soft fists at the hips, maybe taking hold of the underside of the chair, come forward. And then rock back. And so keeping this gentle movement flowing in your own time and rhythm. For a few more breaths, or as long as feels comfortable. And so notice that sometimes when we come into a forward fold, our chin wants to jut up. So have your chin tucked in slightly. And then as ready, come on back to a neutral spine. Relax your arms by your side. Rest your hands on your lap. Palm up or down as desired. And take a moment to notice how you feel. Notice any subtle sensations. And so from here, an invitation to relax your arms down by your side. And then as if you're reaching, well, actually reaching towards the floor. We're actually reaching towards the floor, moving from side to side. Hold the underside of your chair, if you're a wheelchair user, the wheel, whatever works for you. And so moving with our breath. So you might inhale to one side, exhale to the other side. See if you can create a little half smile, like a little Buddha smile. And when we smile, it releases saliva. So we want a nice juicy mouth and juicy body. We all know what it's like to go to the dentist. And then as ready, come on back to neutral spine. Rest your hands on your lap. Belly softens, breath is quiet. And then an invitation to explore a gentle twist. And so we are not going to our full range of motion. And so sliding our hands towards our hips as we move from side to side can help with our proprioceptive awareness. So knowing where our body is in relation to space. As ready, come back to neutral spine. Let your belly soften, your breath is quiet. And notice how you feel. Notice any subtle sensations. And let's come into a practice called, I like to call stirring the pot. So if you can bring your feet a little wider than outer hip bone distance, with your knees tracking over your ankles, okay to have your toes turned out a little. And so if you find that your knees want to rotate inwards, placing a block between your knees might be helpful, a bolster, whatever works for you. And so if another option would be if your knees are rotating inwards, it might be that your feet are a little too wide. So adjust. And then as ready, draw your hands in towards your hip creases. And so soft fists, open palms, and then circle your heart forward and then circle back. And so this movement can feel a little strange if you're not accustomed to it. So I encourage you to move in your own time and rhythm with your breath. And as you begin to feel your lower back and your hips soften and release, see if you can go a little bit deeper. And of course, we're not going to come all the way down. And then as ready, And circle in the opposite direction. So moving your heart forward and then back. Bring a gentle awareness to the space in front of you. Bring your awareness to the space above you. And bring your awareness to the space beside you. Notice how that feels. And especially bring your awareness to the space behind you. And so trust that you are being supported. So I like to think in terms of we, that we can trust that we are being supported. Then slowly make your way back to a neutral spine. Relax your arms by your side. And then rest your arms on your lap or wherever feels most comfortable for you. Soft Buddha belly, quiet breath. And so moving on, we can do a little shake out here, a little wiggly fidgets. I'll do a little bum dance. Whatever your body's asking you to do. So our bodies talk to us. And so from here, let's transition into a warm up for our neck. And so I'm starting to heat up a little bit. So I'm going to take this sweater off. And it's quite white. So I think it'd be easier to see what I'm doing. There's not so much reflection from the way. But so let's repose. Ground through your feet. Center and ground through the soles of your feet. We want to keep our connection with Mother Nature. We tend to start losing that. Root down through your sits bones. Maybe notice where your bum and your thighs are in contact with your seat. Soften your belly. Lengthen up through your spine. Roll your shoulders back and down. Lift up through the crown of your head. And so from here, an invitation to bring your chin gently towards your chest. Allowing the weight of your head to give you a nice gentle stretch at the back of your neck. And then looking up slightly, so maybe your eyes meet where the ceiling meets the wall. And so keeping this gentle movement flowing in your own time and rhythm. For a few more breaths, or as long as feels comfortable. As ready, bring your head back to neutral. Bring your ear towards your shoulder. Pause, and then moving from side to side, so ear to ear. Remember your little Buddha smile. As ready, bring your head back to neutral. Turn your gaze gently, looking past your shoulder. Belly is soft, breath is quiet, and an invitation to visualize moving your chin up and down slightly. Imagination is powerful. Move your head back through center, turn your gaze, looking past your opposite shoulder. Pause. visualize moving your chin up and down slightly. And so moving from side to side, just for a few more breaths, or as long as feels comfortable, in your own time and rhythm. Finish up the movement that you're on, come back, center. And from here, so we've moved through the cervical spine. Movements from here will move down the spine. So it's ready, draw your hands in towards your hip creases. Lift your heart. On exhale, hands slide away, round your back. As you round your back, notice that our tummy naturally contracts in towards our spine a little. So, arch, sliding your hands towards your hips, lift your heart, your solar plexus. On exhale, round your back. As you round your back, draw your navel in towards your spine. On inhale, arch. Exhale, round. So in your own time and rhythm, for a few more breaths, or as long as feels comfortable, an invitation to keep this gentle massage for our spine flowing. Move in a way that feels natural for you. So natural that your movements and your breath become one. And finish up the movement that you're on. Come back to a neutral spine. Belly is soft, breath is quiet. And so from here, let's tap our fingers. So you might imagine you're playing piano. So micro movements, visualizing the movements, focusing on what we can do. So maybe exploring, moving from your pinky to your thumb. And then reverse, thumbs to pinkies. A brain game. And then have an air piano. And so we're getting the synovial fluid, Mother Nature's WD-40 going into little joints in our hands.
What time is it?
And then an invitation to stretch your palms and make soft fists. Stretch your palms, soft fists. Circle your wrists in one direction. Circle your wrists in the opposite direction. Notice, is one wrist tighter than the other? We tend to be tighter on one side. And then as ready, an invitation to relax your arms down by your side, turn your palms face forward, bend your elbows, palms face away, and release. So we'll repeat this movement a few more times. So getting that synovial fluid into our elbows, palms face forward, elbows bent, palms face away. Turn your palms face forward, elbows bent, palms face away. And now I'd like you to imagine that you're riding a motorcycle. So reaching your arms in front of you, flex and extend your wrists. And again, if you'd like, Explore circling your wrists in one direction, circle in the opposite. And then invitation to give your hands a little shake out. So interlace your fingers, or maybe it feels better to take hold of your elbow points. And then I'd like you to imagine that you're drawing the infinity symbol. So we move with our breath, magical things happen. And then reverse the direction. Release your hands, reach up to the sky, extend beyond your wrists, beyond your fingertips. So get bigger in space. We tend to shrink. If it doesn't create tension in your neck, take a look between your palms. Notice if they're facing each other. And so it is not about forcing one limb to do what the other is doing. We just want them talking to each other. Fold your fingers in, press into the palms of your hands. There is a marma point, a sensitive point in the palms of our hands. Or it might feel comfortable to place your hands on the back of your head. And together we can shout out, I am.
I am.
And
I am.
And I will. And with a sigh of relief, blow your arms down by your side. So let's do that one more time as if we're waking up, taking our first morning stretch, big yawn, reaching up on an inhale. And big sigh. And shake up again. Wiggly fidgets. And so we've warmed up our neck, our shoulders, and come into a gentle warm up for our spine. And so now, again, let's repose. So you might walk your hips forward a little bit in a chair, walk back. Maybe you're moving the buttock flesh away from your sits bones. Maybe a little bum dance. And so an invitation to push down through one foot and then push down through your opposite foot. And so this might be an energetic pushing down. And so notice, can you feel one foot more than the other? And then our Buddha belly soft, arms relaxed by our side. We're not actually, we're going to come into mountain pose. So sitting up nice and tall. Back your chin in slightly to release your neck. Looking on the horizon, not on the floor. Mountain pose. And release. And so let's come into another version of mountain pose. So I will share a few different versions of each pose. And so lovely teacher that I'm studying with presently would say, think of the various offerings in the yoga class with the poses and the movements, the modifications, if you will, and think of it as a buffet. So I'd like you to choose whatever pose movement feels the most comfortable for you. In other words, the best fit. And so we've had mountain pose, arms down by our side. Of course, grounded to our feet. And so this time, an invitation to place your palms face open or the previous placement of your hands. So palms facing in towards your body. Ground through your sits bones, lengthen up through your spine. Shoulders back and down, lift up through the crown of your head. Belly is soft, breath is quiet. And release. And so sometimes it's not until we come out of the pose that we notice how hard we were actually working in the pose. So sometimes it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot going on. Not until we come out of it, and then we find ourselves shoulders collapse, chest, etc. So I'm, of course, exaggerating a little bit. But this can be really hard on our breath, our self-esteem, all that wonderful stuff. All the various systems, you know, our lungs and so on. And so let's come into another version of mountain pose. And so palms can be face in, arms by your side, maybe palms face forward. And this time, inhale, reach up to the sky, if that's available to you and you would like. Mountain pose. So ground through your feet, center and ground through the soles of your feet. Sits bones are sharp on the chair. Lengthen up through the crown of your head. And come out of the pose. So I'm going to shake out again. Take a moment, let your Buddha belly soften, your breath is quiet. And so from here, let's come into a side bend. And so I'd like to invite you to take hold of the underside of your chair, or if you're a wheelchair user, you might take hold of your wheel, whatever way you feel the most stable. Release your opposite arm by your side, turn your palm face up with a soft bend in your elbow. Take your arm maybe up into a gold post, or it might feel better to have your hand on your hip. If you have shoulder stuff going on, it might feel good to rest your hand on your shoulder. Or it might feel okay to reach up and over. So today I'm going to choose to have my arm in a gold post with my hand on my shoulder. And so whatever your version is today, come into your side bend version of your arm placement. Turn your gaze down towards the floor and then breathe into your rib cage. Can you imagine breathing in below your rib cage? Come out of the pose on this side. Take a moment, and we'll come into the pose on the other side. So whatever we do on one side, we do on the other if possible. Take hold of the underside of your chair, release your opposite arm by your side. So your hand actually is on your hip, maybe reaching up into a gold pose. Hand on your shoulder or reaching up and over. So coming into the side bend, turn your gaze down towards the floor to release your neck. Keep your sits bones on the chair. And slowly come out of the pose on this side. Take a moment and notice how you feel. And so it's not about the shapes we make or what we look like in our yoga practice. So the diagnostic tool is, how do I feel? And yoga meets us exactly where we are. And so from here, let's come into a twist, a seated twist. And so there are several variations of seated twist. However, today I'm going to choose one version that I think works for most folks. And so if possible, bring your feet a little wider than outer hip bone distance. And if it's difficult to keep your knees, your feet a little wider than outer hip bone distance, you can always place a bolster, a mat, a block between your knees. And I'm coming unraveled here. That's why I do yoga. Happens often. So you might put a block. So I think today I'll just keep this here. And so sitting up tall. On inhale, lengthen your spine so we can create space between each vertebrae. And then come into your twist on your exhale. So reaching across, take your hand to the outside of your knee or thigh. Your other hand comes beside you on the chair or behind you. And so you'll notice we're already into the twist at this point. And so just a note that there are contraindications if you have a bulging disc, osteopenia, osteoarthritis. You do not want to go any deeper than this. And so this would be your pose today. And you know who you are. And or any other condition, if you know is contraindicated to go into a deeper version, an invitation to honor that. And so inhale, lengthen. You might visualize, and then coming into the twist a little deeper. So moving from the base of our spine up through. Head turns last. And see if you can avoid the temptation to move your head to its full range of motion. Slowly unwind, come back to neutral, take a moment, and we'll come into the twist on the other side. So we'll inhale, lengthen our spine, exhale, twist. So this is your static twist today. Slowly unwind, come back to neutral. And so I'm just going to remove the block for now, and an invitation to join me into a rock and roll movement. And so moving from side to side. In your own time and rhythm. And so making sure you come into the twist on an exhale, otherwise you are wasting your time. And so slowly finish up the movement that you're on. Come on back to neutral spine. Relax your arms by your side and rest your hands on your lap. And take a moment to let your breath soften, your belly soften. Your breath to come back to its natural rhythm. And so moving on, an invitation to join me for a practice of a seated sun salutation. And so I was reminded in my study and reading this morning that we can think of our poses and movements when we come into a flow. So sun salutation is a flow. Think of it, if you'd like, as a string of pearls. So moving through each pose. And so with that in mind, again, these are a little bit wider than outer hip bone distance, if that works for you. We're grounded through our feet, Elbows sharp on the chair. Spine is long, shoulders back and down. Tuck your chin slightly, release the back of your neck. And then as you're ready, come into mountain pose. Take your hands to your heart center. Reach up into a gentle back bend. Hinging from the hips, come forward. Walk your feet forward a little bit if that creates a little more stability. Pressing down through your inner heels. Let's come into downward facing dog. So today, the version might be to rest your forearms on your thighs. It might feel okay to reach your arms up on a diagonal. So reaching up maybe towards where the ceiling meets the wall. Place your hands on your thighs, drawing your elbows back. So coming into baby cobra, look up, lift your heart. On exhale, cat and cow, round your back. As you round your back, draw your belly in towards your spine. And so one more time, cat and cow, inhale, arch. Exhale, round. As you're ready, release your arms down by your side, reach up to the sky. Maybe our hands come together in prayer down through to the heart. So let's practice one more round. So mountain pose. Moving with our breath, hands come to the heart center. Reach up to the sky, gentle back arch. Hinging from the hips, come forward. Pressing down through your inner heels. So maybe forearms on your lap. Maybe reaching up. Arms on a downward facing dog. Place your hands on your knees, your thighs. Or maybe actually, better yet, slide your elbows back towards your body. And then baby cobra. Lift your heart. Lift up through the crown of your head. Round your back. So cat and cow. Round your back. As you round your back, draw your belly in towards your spine. On inhale, arch. Exhale, round. So back to neutral spine. Release your arms by your side. Come into forward fold if you like, and then reaching up to the sky. Maybe our hands come together in prayer down through to the heart. Place one hand on your belly, the other on your heart center. And maybe notice the rise and fall of your chest and your belly. And so we're going to come down off the mountain. So come seated comfortably back in your chair in preparation for a short guided meditation and your final relaxation. And so make sure that you have what you need to stay comfortable. So whether that's depending on where you're tuning in from. So you might, if it's cold, you might want a blanket, something on your lap that can be grounding, can help with fatigue. So I happen to have a blanket here. I always like to have a blanket nearby. So that can be on your lap. It of course doesn't work for everyone. So if you're super duper sensitive, you might not want that. It can feel lovely on the back of the chair. Another option, of course, would be to place a rolled sticky mat along your spine. And if you can place your chair up against a wall, you might be able to, with a little bit of support, lean back on it. Block. Yeah, so if you have a super duper chair that you're able to recline in, go for it. That can be wonderful. And so just making sure that your head and neck is supported. And so an invitation to roll your shoulders back and down just a few times. And so we're not scrunching our shoulder blades together. We are allowing our shoulders to soften away from our ears. Close your eyes softly if that feels comfortable for you, or soften your gaze. Or maybe looking downwards. Rest your hands, palms face up or down as desired. Soft Buddha belly, the area between our navel and our pubic bone. Soft palms, quiet breath. Allow your breath to reflect the pose. Relax your jaw. Unclench your teeth. Let there be a little space between your teeth. Soften your lower jaw. Soften around your temples. Soften the area between your eyebrows. Wide forehead. Silently, if you'd like, on inhale, say let. On exhale, go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. It's challenging to quiet the mind, placing our hands on our belly and bringing our awareness to our breath can be helpful. And so without changing anything, bring your awareness back to your breath. Thank your body. Thank your body again. So our bodies are the best home our mind will ever have. And now see if you can begin to deepen your inhale and lengthen your exhale. Wiggle your fingers and toes, hands and feet, waking up. Rub the tips of your fingers with your thumbs if you'd like. And come on up seated comfortably to finish your yoga practice. Thank you. So notice how you feel before and after your yoga practice. Questions or feedback, I always love to hear from you. So I'll make sure that we have a few moments to talk. And as always, thank you to the Disability Foundation, ConnecTogether, all the wonderful folks that make this possible for us to come together for a yoga practice. And so I'm going to move in a little closer so I can see you better, of course. Oh, there y'all are. So
Thanks.
you're welcome. Thank you, Samantha.
Thanks, Bobbie. Thanks, ConnecTogether.
Thanks, Janet.
Okay. So notice how you feel, maybe not just, right after the yoga class, but even the next day or two. So I often will suggest that if you're not feeling it at all the next day or two, you didn't work hard enough in your practice. If you're still feeling it after 2 days, it might be that you worked a little bit too hard. And so that's the sweet spot, right amount of effort and ease. And so love you all, and I'll see you again soon. And what can I say? Happy rest of the day. Thanks, Kassar.
Nice walk on the beach.
Woohoo.
Where do you live, Janet?
Kitsilano. Yeah, I'm right near the beach, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, stone's throw.
Anyway, I'm going. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye, Jenna.
Okay, Bobbie.
All
See
right.
you guys next week.
I know I ran a little bit. It was really down to the wire, close to noon.
Oh,
I
that's
like
fine.
we're 15 minutes early, but
No problem.
yeah. So have an awesome day, Kassar. I'll see you
Same
next